go ahead and call meeting to order. If you would call the roll.
Mr. Griffin.
Present.
Dr. Matusik. Mr. Simrod.
Here.
Mr. Lau.
Here.
Mrs. Charles. Here.
Okay. Keep that in. There is nobody signed up for comments either before or just now, so let us quickly move to item 3, the most important part of today's agenda.
Exactly. A great time of year. We'll just start with Stacy and Barry on Teacher of the Year, or excuse me, District Teacher, and then.
All right. Well, the ECC's Teacher of the Year is Flo Conway, and am I doing yours too? And the elementary is Flo Conway as well. So we're very fortunate to have her for 46. Well, she's been teaching for 46 years, and 43 years have been in our district. So that is a wonderful service and dedication to our students and our district and our community. So thank you, Flo. Some of the reasons why she got chosen was her commitment to the students in the district. She has support both for the teachers and the students, and for administration as well. If I ever have a question, I always can ask Flo, and she's right on it and has a really good answer for me. She's very knowledgeable and communicates well with the parents. Sometimes you have to, in meetings, kind of be very level-headed, and she always is, and comes in and does a good job with those parents. So I appreciate that about her as well. So you've had a remarkable service to our community and our district, and I appreciate that. And I hope you have a great retirement. And we will miss you very much so, but I know you're just a call away, and I appreciate your kindness and dedication.
Okay. Stand up.
Oh,
you gotta stand up too.
Okay.
Well, Stacy had some really nice words to say about Miss Conway, and I totally agree, and I probably can't beat that speech, so I'm going to take a little bit different angle. 42 years ago, somehow when I was in middle school, I convinced my dad to take me turkey hunting before school, thinking that I could get back before school started. My dad was supposed to pick me up at a gate and never picked me up, and so I started walking to Lacey's store to try to figure out what was going on. So after a couple miles of walking down the highway, Mrs. Conway and Coach Conway picked me up walking down the hallway, or walking down the highway. So that was the first time that I ever met Mrs. Conway. Probably jumped in with a loaded gun and everything. But yeah, so that's how we first met. 38 years ago, I remember hugging her. Great baseball mom, with Coach Conway winning the state championship. So winning the state championship, on that field, I remember hugging her, thanking her for all the things that she did as a baseball coach's wife to help our kids out. 40 years still, she's still helping me out. She can't get rid of me, so I appreciate all the guidance and leadership and support. I go down there and tell her, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. She's, oh, no, wait a minute, you better think about that. You better think that out, and gives me, guidance and, leadership to make the right decisions and not get myself in trouble. But not only does she help me out, but she helps everybody out. She's definitely the mother hen of our school. Like Stacy said, she's an incredible communicator, and that's what makes her great. Communicating with staff, with parents, and with kids, and mixing that with that mother hen attitude. It's just unbelievable to have that in the school, and we're definitely going to miss that. So, Flo, thank you for everything that you've done. It's been a pleasure knowing you, and thanks for all the help that you've given me.
Just about all of them.
I might use that pretty good.
All right. Mrs. Rapp, you can stand too, please. So Shelley Rapp is our middle school teacher of the year. She's been a teacher for 25 years, 8 years in Irving, Texas, and 17 years in Hennessey. She has experience teaching 5th through 8th grade math and 4 years of 1st grade. She currently teaches 5th, 6th, and 7th grade math. In order for us to keep offering Algebra 1 to 8th graders, Mrs. Rapp had to pick up an extra prep of 7th grade. She is always willing to do things like this that are in the best interest of our students. She offers tutoring for every subject in 5th through 8th grade, Monday through Friday, 7:15 in the morning till 7:55, and Wednesdays after school. I really want to speak about our state testing data because it really stands out. So this past year, 33% of our students that had our last year improved on the state test more than the normal progression. Only 1% went down. The rest progressed at the normal rate. Big reason that the middle school has been able to score at least a B in academic achievement and academic growth for 4 years in a row is because of Mrs. Rapp. Last school year, a benchmark test for STAR Math, when we got to 5th grade, the grade equivalent average was 4.9 grade level in August. Then when they left her, they were at 6.9, the average. And then for the 6th grade, when she got them, they were at 6.0, which is pretty normal to lose a few months of growth over the summer. Then her grade equivalent grew to 8.6 in May. We state test in math for every grade level, 5th through 8th. Ms. Rapp has more growth than any other subject teacher area in our building. It's not easy to do when our building is full of great teachers. I know our staff and I are happy to see her get the recognition she deserves.
Go ahead, you can stand up, Mrs. Grites. Kim Grites was chosen as both the high school site teacher of the year as well as the district teacher of the year. Kim has worked in 2 buildings since she came to Hennessey, having taught a wide variety of science subjects as well as STEAM. And I kind of convinced her to teach computer science last year, and she did a phenomenal job with that as well. Kim was awarded Teacher of the Game at the Chickasaw Bricktown Ballpark, a Funding the Future grant. Speaking of grants, since Kim's arrival, she's raised upwards of $52,000 through grant writing for her students and her classroom to provide them opportunities to expand their knowledge and do a lot of cool projects, a lot of cool curriculum, both, like I said, with computer science and actually with something that she came to me about last year, wanting to kind of switch things up a little bit. She's really good about that, and most of the time I'm a little nervous, but this one was such a cool idea, and I was basically like, I don't know how we're going to do this, and she said, you leave that part to me, will you let me do this? And that was to add a forensic science course at the high school for our honors level students. She has raised all the funds she needed to begin the program, and it has been an incredible success. Kids rant and rave about the time they have in that class, seeing pictures of the different crime scenes and things that they have done in the class is really, really cool. So that's just one of the most recent, I don't want to say harebrained ideas because it was a really cool one, but like I said, she's got lots of great ideas, and she's always looking to provide good opportunities for the kids here. Mrs. Grites has also been chosen as a master teacher for the Oklahoma Energy Resource Board, and she leads workshops where she teaches other teachers the core science curriculum all across the state. And you've hosted one of those here, right? And she's looking to host another one again next year, correct?
Yes.
So anytime since I've arrived that I've needed help with anything, someone to bounce ideas off of, ask advice of, I've been able to go to Mrs. Grites, and I know that she'll jump at the opportunity to help or give me words of wisdom and help me make the right decision. She's 100% for these kids, her colleagues, and this community, and we're blessed to have her in Hennessey Public Schools. Thank you, Mrs. Grites.
Thank you, teachers, very much. Be sure to hand slowly by Mr. Grites, who moved so he wouldn't be Be sure to pick him up.
Whatever works. Great.
Great group. Ladies, you're welcome to stay, or you're welcome if you want to. If you've got stuff to do, you can, whatever you would like. Congratulations again.
Moving on to item 4, consent agenda 4.1 through 4.4. Does anybody have any they need to have pulled out for further discussion, or has a quick inquiry? No. Seeing none, I will move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Mr. Simrod?
Yes.
Mr. Lau?
Aye.
Mrs. Charmison?
Yes.
Under regular business, 5.1 regards pre-referral process for special education as per section 504.
So kind of a recent audit, so to speak, we worked with Office of Civil Rights, and there was just some things that we needed to change up. And so the changes in here are just getting everything up to date for that pre-referral process for somebody being tested or into either the 504 plan or an IEP program. So I would recommend to the board adopting that policy as written.
Okay. Do you have any questions? Seeing none, I'll move to approve the plan.
Second.
Mr. Griffin,
Yes.
Mr. Simrod,
Yes.
Mr. Lau,
Aye.
Mrs. Charmison.
Yes.
Item 5.2 is in regard to policy change of policy item 523 regarding display of flags.
So we had the display of flags, we're saying where we have those posted, and this is part of our annual accreditation process. And one of the new items that we have to have, and we put it with the display of flags, is also the Pledge of Allegiance. We have to state when we're going to do that, and so that's why we put under normal circumstances, regular circumstances, it'll be given over the intercom, and each building does it just a little different, so we didn't want to say second hour, but under normal circumstances, meaning that, you know, if somebody, one class is going to a field trip, well, that's not that day, they're probably not going to do it, but under normal circumstances, we'll do it each day at the principal's discretion over the intercom.
Is that just done for the United States pledge?
Just for the U.S.
Yeah,
pledge,
to the
yes.
Oklahoma.
Now, the elementary, I think they still do the Oklahoma.
Daily,
Does middle school?
So does the high school.
So does high school, okay, well, there you go.
every day.
Every day.
All right.
So if we ask you what the Oklahoma pledge was, you could probably recite that.
I salute the flag of the state of Oklahoma, that symbols peace, unite all people.
I can't tell you you're wrong. I grew up in Texas. Don't ask me that pledge either. Oh, does that need a motion?
Yes.
Yes, and I recommend to the board adopting policy as written.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Griffin,
Yes.
Mr. Simrod,
Yes.
Mr. Lau,
Aye.
Mrs. Charmison.
Yes.
Is there new business that we have been?
No new business to act upon.
Then let us have your superintendent's.
So a couple things on facilities. Just wanted to update you on the Greenfield house that we just recently purchased. Chief Scott has put in an application with the DEQ stating their wishes of what they would like to do and have some training there. I don't know if he has heard back from them or not. I think they have like a 10-day period, but anyway, he's planning on trying to get that training done before we get back from spring break. And so, because after spring break is when we have Jackson's demolition scheduled to come in and do that. I asked Jackson's, you know, if they burn it or partial burn or whatever, so he will adjust the cost based on what's remaining of the house, but at this point in time, I couldn't tell him how much they're going to tear down or what have you, so.
Saw somebody stealing firewood there the other day.
Yeah, he politely requested if he could have that, so yes, Mr.
Yeah, I
Ulrich.
didn't think he was stealing.
Yeah, no, he didn't, he got permission, Mr. Ulrich asked if he could do it, he saw the fire department had knocked down one of the trees and asked if he could get it, and sure, they
Yeah,
want
get
it
them all.
out, they want it out of their way, so for their entrance and exits of their training, so.
Okay.
Next, something that was brought up, and I've been meaning to bring this up the last couple months and just have forgot, but, you know, we had, when we were redoing the parking lot, part of it, we did not accept the alternate bid of going south, you know, on the west side of the football field and doing that. But somebody had mentioned, what about the lighting? Because we still have, during football games, later in track season, still that south area is, you know, still pretty
Unlit.
Unlit, yeah, so
Poorly lit.
besides residual light of the moon, a full moon hopefully, yeah, it's poorly lit. So do we want to, we're sitting at about $1 million in the building fund, have no projects designated, encumbered for that. Do we want to pull out the lighting portion and just do the lighting portion of it, and then that way, down the road, if we or future boards want to discuss paving it, would be ready. And we'd follow the lighting portion as a plan of that.
Yeah, I think that'd be something very worthwhile.
You're talking about the parking lot there by the weight room.
The
and
south side of the field
South
house,
side.
yes, sir, yes. So, then if that's the case, then I will contact architects and work on bid package for that portion of that. So,
What about other lighting projects? I mean, are we happy with the parking and all this? I mean,
I have
done a
not
lot
had
of-
any other brought to me. I know the Safe School Committee recently met, and that was not one of the issues. So if there is, somebody just hasn't said it. If anybody knows of any or hears anything, please share with us. So I think we've done a pretty good job over the last few years of finding a lot of dark spots. And then Dome, we were fortunate enough over the last few weeks that we've hosted the Squirtle event, the 3A regionals, and then the 4A area. And I just want to commend the board for your vision years ago on, thinking outside the box and going, a little bigger than probably what was expected at the time, because we bring in these teams and first time they see it, I mean, they'll call OSSA and talk about how they want to come back here. The Squirtle event is growing because people want to come back here. And so, the planning that went in with what the board and Dr. Woods did, passing the issue with the community, I mean, you just can't go far enough and brag on everybody. But with that also, these tournaments, these festivals that you put in 10 games or a 3-day tournament, they are very taxing. It takes a lot of manpower to do it. So I really just want to give credit where credit's due, and in no particular order, but obviously, Mr. Faulkner, Todd Cameron, they get the AV, they work together on all of that where, you can punch up and you can see when somebody scores and the intro of teams. And, just like Saturday night, it said headed to the big house that those teams got to use as a backdrop on the big scoreboard. I mean, very neat. So they go above and beyond there. Then you talk about the score table. There's multiple people at the score table. Patrick, thank you for announcing and being a board member. He doesn't get paid, but, puts in tons of time. And we expect you not to get paid next year either.
You can talk to my agent.
I'll talk to your agent. Burt Russell, Dustin Vinson, Mark Cox, Rayanna Fuchsa, Matthew Fuchsa, McKenna Pendergraft is learning how to do that. She's come in. Jen Richardson keeping books. I mean, it goes on and on. Hospitality room, Jen Richardson also does that, and she gets everything organized. She gets the moms and the family members that come in. Mr. Faulkner, he buys some stuff, but the moms and boosters, they bring in stuff and sign up, and people are sponsoring her. FCCLA kids are involved. People can't get over. You've been in this a year, a month, or excuse me, a year? No, 5 years. And they're like, it's so clean and well kept. Ruth Frank, Brenda Portillo, Sylvia Cardenas, Donnie Harris, Gary Beeman. Wonderful job of going through, I mean, Donnie's up there sweeping popcorn up as soon as somebody spills it, may ask him to move over a little bit, but still, he's working his tail off, Patty Shaw and Christina Gonzalez de Roman taking tickets. Concession stand is orchestrated by Nathan Hill, but he couldn't do it. Francis Streck steps in one day. And then we have all of our groups, and they help the athletic department raise money, and different sports teams in there. And then last but not least, this year for the regional area, we had Logan Macy. Ask him, and he cooked burgers on one day and ribeye sandwiches on another. So Logan, and he recruited some people, Dustin Wymore, Skylar McCall, and Brian Birch. So, Mr. Faulkner, if I'm leaving anybody, I know Richie, principals, they've always offered to step up and, stand in, always there. It's a nice community support, and it's just, like I say, if there's somebody I'm leaving out. That's the only thing I get nervous when I start naming off names, because there's somebody you leave out. So Patrick or anybody, if you saw something and want to commend them, please.
It's the last day, I walked in with the officiating crew, of which 2 of the 3 had never been here. And the night before, one of the officials came all the way from Durant. He had a 3.5-hour drive. But when you're walking in with people, whether other schools or the officiating crews I did, and their eyes just get big, like little kids going, whoa, they just had to drive down Highway 51 with a 50-mile-an-hour sign, 10 miles out, and, they're going, we have these Tulsa private schools having to go all the way to little old Hennessey. Well, what are we going to get? We going to play basketball at the rodeo arena? No, they walk through the doors and go, we want to come back here. Well, and then what the video package is that we're able to do on the the starting lineup announcements. It is just, we're very, very proud of what we're done, and just knowing that the officials, they get treated to an actual officials locker room. Most gymnasiums don't. You dress in the coach's office, out of the trunk of your car, or someplace. You know, we have a dedicated place for that. Jack, I think we have another We're Going In episode. So write that down. Next fall, winter, you know, just like what he's talking about, the amount of people that it takes to put on, you know, whether it's a Tuesday night basketball game or a 3-day tournament.
We did football 2 years ago.
Yes, yeah, it's time to do a basketball one, because it does take a lot of manpower to do that.
Well, and it's a good recruiting tool. You know, Coach Richardson, I commend him. He's gone out, worked his tail off, and recruited some really good teams across that represent different parts of the state, not just locally. And there was a couple that did come to 3A regionals that now have asked to get in to our tournament, and you know, we don't have an opening. They're like, we want on the waiting list. And same with officials. Once the officials saw this, they're like, man, we'll come here and we want to call your tournament. We want to call the Squirtle Festival. So it's a good recruiting tool. So
It's amazing if you pay attention or visit with someone out of town, the compliments that just roll, you know, for the whole event, you know, the facility, everything. So, job well done.
Anything else?
that's all I have.
Let the minutes show at 7:22 the vice president arrives, just so we can be accurate.
He can read that. That's the superintendent's report.
Okay, I'll give it to him since he didn't get it verbalized. Item 8, regarding personnel and a proposed executive session regarding the employment of certified and support personnel for 25-26. I will move to enter into executive session.
Second.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Dr. Matusik?
Yes.
Mr. Simrod?
Yes.
Mr. Lau?
Aye.
Mrs. Charmison?
Yes.
So when I saw that, I was like,
Well, we should close enough.
yep.
Acknowledge return to open session. We entered into executive session 7:23, came back out at 7:39. All board members were present, including Superintendent Jason Sternberger and Board Member-elect Lance Painter. No votes taken. Only agenda items were discussed. Moving on to 8.2 regards what we did discuss in executive session, and that is the employment of certified and support personnel for 2025-2026.
I recommend to the board the employment of all certified and support personnel as listed.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Dr. Matusik?
Yes.
Mr. Simrod?
Yes.
Mr. Lau?
Aye.
Mrs. Charmison?
Yes.
Moving on, before we get to the last item, I'll take this opportunity to sincerely thank the community for allowing me to serve Hennessey schools for the last 15 of the last 19 years. It's been an honor, a privilege to serve the students, the faculty, staff, administration, serving with many, many different school board members, 4 regular superintendents and 1 interim over that period of time, and I am forever thankful for that opportunity from the community. That being said, I move to adjourn.
Second.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Dr. Matusik?
Yes.
Mr. Simrod?
Yes.
Mr. Lau?
Aye.
Mrs. Charmison?
Yes.